Welcome back to Podcast The Sequel. We discuss the good, the bad, and the continued. I'm Ryan.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Manira.
I'm Joseph.
And with the 23rd anniversary of Ocean's 11, we're discussing Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 11 for that matter. But before we do that, let's get into the nitty gritty of the first one. What are we looking?
$85 million budget with a $450.7 million box office as a A- cinema score. So did pretty well. Obviously, huge box office. I think it was the 5th highest grossing film of 2001. And it was the 3rd highest in George Clooney's career, just right behind Batman and Robin and The Perfect Storm. And
Nice.
It's the biggest box office ever for Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts.
There we go.
Nice.
I love these movies.
Oh, yeah, it's a fucking great time, man.
Every single one of them. I love
Yeah.
them.
And we've seen this, the three of us have seen this movie before. This is another movie where one of us has not seen it,
Yes.
which is Munira this time. So,
Me.
Yeah, I grew up with these. Like my
I
family was
they're
very
great.
much into it, and like obviously Vegas setting. There's a lot of casino vibes into it that I love about it. But just the cast is strong. I love the way this film is edited. The music, I'm a big fan of it as well. It just fits. This movie just works for me.
I agree. I like the way the cinematography works and the way that they play with that. I love a good caper. I like that a lot too. I think we were watching something, I forget what it was, but we were like, oh, it's a caper? Throw it on. I think it was like Run.
I like that you call them capers.
That's what it is.
I know. It's like heist film.
Little heist movie.
Like I
little
call it
caper,
heist film.
You know, it is what it is.
Crime. I think it's technically like classified cinema-wise as like crime. Like not thriller, but like crime.
Yeah. I love their everyone's connections and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt and George Clooney's like chemistry in it is very strong.
Phenomenal.
The
Yeah.
way that they can have conversations without saying anything, like when Brad Pitt's laying on the bar and he's like, "I think we need another. Should get another, huh?"
And like George just
Right
finally
on.
gets to the conclusion, like, we need another one.
Yeah,
like
okay.
Brad has zero dialogue in that scene, but just his reaction, how he's like planted on that bar, sells it enough to be like, oh yeah. Like their physical acting too works a lot in this film for me as well. But even Brad, like his snacking in the film, I think he went through like 40 shrimps.
Yeah,
during
that's
one
okay, I was
scene.
like that.
I was like, dude, Brad was.
I wanted to take it back because I know you guys are talking a lot about Brad Pitt and George Clooney's dynamic, and that in like part also has to do with not only like they do have a friendship going as well, but also because George Clooney liked to prank a lot of people on set. And I read somewhere that like he pranked Brad Pitt and he put like, I think it was like some sort of like weed bumper. Oh, it's always like a weed bumper sticker that said like something about like fuck cops or something like that.
There was
And
that
purposely
one?
he would like drive around with it in
Yeah.
Vegas and stuff and just to get pulled over. So a
Yeah.
lot of like pranky
I think that's
things.
like the one good thing. Like they pranked each other a lot that I was
Yeah.
reading. I thought it was fun. I know they pranked one of the pranks that they played on Julia Roberts when they were filming the first one. They actually wrote it into the script in the second movie. So we'll get into it when we talk about Ocean's 12.
Oh, that's fun.
Interesting.
And then I think I mentioned before we even like started like revisiting these films for us and then you watching it that there was like a bit where George Clooney got Julia Roberts to be in the film, which is like at the time Julia Roberts was making $20 million a film, so he sent her a $20 bill and just said, "Hey, I hear like you're getting 20 now, like be in this film," kind of thing. And she thought it was very cheeky, and so she's in the film. But great film, great cast. I think we kind of know all that. Great director, David Soderbergh. I feel like there's so many things to say about this movie, but I don't know. Okay. I feel like we haven't even touched upon the fact that this is a remake as well of the original Ocean's 11 with 5 members of the Rat Pack. So Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr.,
Dean Martin, Joey
Dean Martin, which is I was like, I have very mixed feelings about that one, but
It's very of the time.
George Clooney always says it's a terrible movie.
it's not okay.
He's always said that.
I feel like there are moments like I feel like with Ocean's 11, the remake, you get just such a great cast, and they all have like these like roles that are being played where it's very niche to like what they're doing, an intricate part in this plan, and they each have their own personalities. They're each kind of just like a certain person with like little things that they have about them that make them who they are. Whereas like in the original Ocean's 11, I feel like only like 3 of them really have personalities or like things that are like, oh, it's that guy. Like there's the guy who's like just got out of prison. There's the guy who's allegedly the leader who like cheats on his wife, which is terrible. And then you have like Dean Martin, who's kind of like the rusty brat. Yeah, like it's just
on his wife.
well, yeah. But I mean, like I feel like with that movie, it was nice to like. It's very of the time. It's kind of nice to go back to it because then you get to see like the very old Vegas, like of the 5 casinos that they rob, like only 2 of them are still around.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of fun to see like old Vegas. A lot of people always talk about that. And then they're always singing, which is fun.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like I feel like this one is just so much better story wise
yeah.
and character wise
I agree.
and yeah, it's just like the first hour is just boring of the original. Like it's just kind of like you're setting up these characters where like in this one it's exciting to see who's going to be involved, who the characters are, what their roles are, and then you see it being played out. So it's very well done, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the 1960 walking out of the casino and the board outside is like featuring the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
It has like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, has like all their names. Like that's the part where I'm like, oh, that's a flex. Walking out of your own movie from the casino that you sabotaged and like your names are up there, your real names are up there. Like that's one of like the cooler shots in the film I've ever seen. But for the film itself, I got bored of it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I remember my grandpa showed it to me when I was like 6, and I'm just like,
I liked the ending of that one just a lot more because I thought it was funny that they robbed the place and then they didn't end up with the money at all.
no,
Because it
Kind of
just
the point.
yeah.
And Sinatra-
Well, yeah, there's just I think that
Yeah.
that's fun. Like fun. Like you
Yes.
went through all this work and like
It's
I think it
big
could go
payoff,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, it can go either way. People will be like, well, they didn't even get the money versus like they didn't even get the money.
And then Sinatra, like on the DVD commentary, said the original ending was going to be them going on a plane and the plane crashes and they all die. That was the
That's
original
terrible.
idea for the 1960s.
That's terrible.
Ocean's 11, yeah. And then somebody was like, that's pretty morbid. I think Dean Martin was like, I don't want to do that because what if that actually happens to us? He
Exactly.
was like,
Yeah.
fuck that. I was like, I don't want to play
Oh.
with that
I
type
know a
of...
couple guys.
oh my God.
The only real guy, like the only real character. Oh my god, Jesus!
Oh shit! Yeah. that
I
too.
can't even.
Holy
The only real character that I even like in that one is the one that ends up dying, like Tony Berghoff, and he's played by Richard Conte, which is actually once again bringing it back to like Twilight Zone. He's in one of my favorite episodes, which is Perchance to Dream. It's a great episode if you haven't seen it. But yeah, overall, I think the first the remake is way better than the original. Sorry for people who like
I would
older
agree.
movies.
Yeah,
No, I definitely agree. I think a lot of people would probably agree with you. I feel like it was a hard movie to kind of sell too, because it's like you're rooting for the bad guys, and they want that. Like they're like, oh, well, they're the bad guys, but we got to make them likable.
Yeah.
We can't let them get away. with
And
it
these
kind
guys
of
aren't even
thing.
likable. What the a
No.
leader's cheating on his wife?
You know,
It's terrible.
as they
No.
do.
The likable
Give me a
character
martini,
dies.
sweetie.
For people that were going to be cast in the 2001 version, they went to Mike Myers, Bruce Willis, which we'll bring up with the second one. Ewan McGregor was asked to star in this film, and it was also given to Mark Wahlberg, but he dropped out so he could star in Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
Oh, so much
Solid
better
move.
choice.
Yeah.
for sure.
There's
So much
another
better choice.
one that I looked at. They also gave the role to originally for Casey Affleck and Scott
Oh, the
Cahan.
Oh, the Wilson
It was already
brothers.
supposed to go to the Wilson brothers, which I was just like, I don't know how to say his last name. Scott Cahan. Scott C.
Scott closer.
Scott C.
He's
It's-
in.
Scott Sniffle.
His dad's in one of Joseph's favorite movies.
Which one? There's so many.
Godfather.
Don't hurt me now with The Godfather. We'll get to it when we get to it. We're
Did you ever watch Star Trek?
Oh, no. She's maybe, actually.
Doubtful.
Khan.
I've watched the one with Chris Pine. Just the first movie. with
So-
Chris Pine.
We'll get there. When we
He
get
just
Yes.
he just passed away like not that long ago. The dad.
Oh,
there.
R.I.P.
It's fine. No, I just heard Kahan and I was like, wait, who? It took
Kahan.
me a second. I was like, oh yeah, it's Khan.
It's Khan.
Khan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Khan.
Scott Khan. Is
James
the
Caan.
son of
James Caan.
James Caan.
No idea who
He's
that
in
is.
your favorite Christmas movie.
Oh yeah, Elf. He's the dad.
Oh,
It's his son.
Bringing it back.
Bringing
I'm
it
really
back.
bad
Oh, and
with
Johnny
names.
Depp was also
Everything's connected.
offered the role and he turned it down.
Yeah.
Huh.
I also heard Alan Arkin, Ralph Fiennes, Ray Fiennes, not Ralph. Ray Fiennes.
Yes.
It's pronounced as Ray, but spelled like Ralph. It doesn't
The
matter.
guy who plays Voldemort? Or different?
Yes.
Yes.
At first, I was like, "What?"
That would have been an interesting cast.
Oh, all those people, like such a weird scramble of just nonsense.
Well, it's funny like bringing up Mike Myers because the scene where Brad puts on the wig, it's from the set of Austin Powers.
It's Austin Powers wig?
Yeah, so that's how they kind of like try to bring the pieces back together.
So out of all of the, I think I wrote this down technically for the 12th movie, but we can discuss it in this one. So Ryan and I were having a nice hearty discussion over like the Ocean's 11 and then the Ocean's 12.
Who are the Ocean's 11? Like, how would you classify it? Who is part of what makes them the 11?
You mean like
Who makes the 11?
Who makes up the 11?
Yeah,
Yeah,
who makes
that's a
up the
great way of
11?
answering it.
like the name of the characters?
Like, yeah.
Like who's in
Like,
the
who's-
Ocean's
who's
11?
11. Who's the 11?
Who are the 11?
Because they have that funny moment in the second one. Where it's like, who named it Ocean? I thought it should have been.
Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and I have a great name for that one too.
I'm trying to count all their names.
If you know
Brad
Go the actor
names or
name. Yeah,
actor,
you
it
go
doesn't
You know the
matter.
actor, like what they do.
Brad
George
Pitt,
Blad. Brad.
Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Casey Affleck, Scott Conn,
Good. Yeah.
Topher Grace. I don't know his real. That's not his real name, right? No, that's his name.
Topher Grace is
Topher
his
Grace
Oh,
is
that's his
name,
real
but
name?
I don't think he's part of
He's
this.
He's not part
He's
of
not
it.
part
He's
of
not
it.
part
I'm
of
trying
the
to
other
name
one.
all the people.
You can just
Matt
say what they do.
Damon.
Yeah, I was like, you can say what they do.
That's even harder for me to do that.
Bernie.
Well, like the Grease guy, like I don't know his I don't know his name,
Bernie,
his actor name.
Don.
The Grease guy.
Don Cheadle?
Yeah, the amazing.
the Asian guy.
Yeah, I was like,
How do you say it?
Amazing
Yen.
Yen.
Yen. Okay, I was like Chen.
He's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a bagman.
That's how many of them? Like 6.
I don't know.
I feel like I've only named
Bernie
6.
Mac. Did you mention
Yeah.
Bernie Mac?
Yeah, he was
we
part
did
of my
Bernie Mac.
Who almost lost the role because
s-
Steve Harvey tried to sabotage him and be like, "Hey, it should
Yeah.
be." So people that are like have watched the Cat Williams podcast. That was like one of the bigger pods that came out earlier in the year. He brought that story up how when Bernie got the role in Ocean's 11, Steve Harvey and they were on a tour together, the Kings of Comedy tour. Steve Harvey went around behind his back, got his manager to be like, "You should just fire Bernie, get Steve in." And that's why Bernie and Steve had that beef for years. Because he's like, "You trying to get me fired? Like, you trying to make me lose my job?"
Why?
And took
That
over.
son of a bitch.
They
Jim
just,
Crow.
I guess, according to Cat Williams, he said Steve always hated Bernie Mac because, according to Cat, he was funnier.
I
He,
had that
Yes.
as one of
He
my
is?
fan facts too. Steve Harvey's representatives reached out to the film producers and said that their client would be a better fit to play Frank because he's more charismatic than
That's
Bernie
some-
Mac.
That's some bullshit. That's some sneaky.
Real happy they
bullshit.
stuck with Bernie.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bernie's
me too.
great.
Me too.
We've
Um,
discussed how much we love Bernie Mac.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So with the 11, so we have conflicting thoughts on this. So for me, the Ocean's 11 is Danny Ocean's team that he puts together, including himself. So it's all of the guys that are in on it. So like everybody that pretty much everybody that you listed, and then including Danny are the Ocean's 11.
Yeah, I always counted him as part of the 11.
That's how I counted it too, but
Is he
Ryan
not?
says differently. Well, and I think that I could think it's conflicting, but
yeah, because we all agree, like, you can look at it however way you want.
Yeah.
But to me, it's Danny Ocean's 11, and the 11th person is Julia Roberts.
See, that's where I went when I did it for Ocean's 12 when we were watching it. I counted her. I asked him before it even started, like, is she the 12th man? And he's like, just watch the movie.
Because she's already part of the 11.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for Ocean's 12, that would make Catherine Zeta-Jones the 13th.
Yeah.
Her brains.
Well,
They
Catherine
all
said,
have a
yeah.
part in it.
Well, yeah, and then like
Yeah.
in the so for I mean, we'll get into that. We'll get into the 12th one, but I just wanted to pose that thought to you because a lot of like I've even read online like a lot of conflicting where they're just like, no, it's this guy, and then like even Ryan's like, well, what about the guy that beats him up in the hotel room? Like he's technically part of
He's
it,
part
and
of
then he
it,
comes
yeah.
back
He
in the
comes back in the
12th
second
one.
one's like,
Yeah,
no
so
one
like
thinks
is
of him as
he?
part of the
Yeah, but nobody
Nobody
like
else.
says
They all have a
exactly.
role.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, I was like, so
See,
who was the
Now
12th?
my little brain is like turning because I'm like, well, there's so many other people that could be, especially in the second one, that I'm like, well,
Yeah.
now that you brought this up, couldn't X, Y, and Z person
What
also
about
be?
someone's mom? What
Yeah,
about-
mom and dad.
That came up. When
That's
we
exactly what I
watched
was
it.
thinking.
But
of.
also, it's Ocean's
11.
11.
Yeah.
Meaning
Yeah.
it's
his-
11.
Well, it's his team. Yeah, it's his
quick,
team.
His team
Yeah,
of 11. So
um,
12 with him.
which is funny because
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, see, yeah.
That was my argument.
yeah, I always thought it should be called Rusty's Snack Pack.
That's funny. Let us know what you think down in the comments.
Yes, please.
Okay, no, you
No, you go ahead.
moralistic view of this movie, because technically we're rooting for the bad guy, or bad guys, if you will, because like I mean, like, it's fun, right? All these people are very charming, and they're like funny, and they're doing all this bit. They have a good, like, you know, back and forth kind of thing. But like, moralistically wise, like, you're rooting for someone who's stealing money. And it's kind of hard to, like, in reality, you shouldn't be rooting for them.
Makes sense. I think it helps though that they're robbing Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. No, absolutely. Like, I love this movie, and I love watching them do what they do, and then the explaining of it and showing like the whole rundown of everything is great. And plus, like, Andy Garcia as like Benedict is just
Yeah.
you hate him, so you're like, yeah, take his money, like, take the money
Yeah.
from him. Like, you want them to succeed because of how much of an asshole this guy is, especially to like Tess and to Danny. So no, I mean, I just, from the, like, you know, just a pure like paper standpoint of just like 11 people go in and rob a bank kind of thing, you're like, well, that's not nice. Like, that's not right.
I mean, I understand the moralistic point that you're trying to bring up, but I honestly did not think anything of it when I was watching the movie. I was just like, yeah, just rob them.
I think I'm just always thinking of like, oh, if I did this, or if I was this person, or if I did, like, I'm not going to go rob Vegas. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And like, their plan is like kind of crazy. Even
It
though,
has to
well,
like
yeah.
be pulled off perfectly. Like
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
All, like,
the
the
subtle little
nitty-gritty.
things that have to go right for it to work.
Yeah.
Like especially when they're trying to blow up like the safe and Homeboy's like hands stuck in there.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many things that
Put
could have
fucking
went wrong.
gauze on.
Yeah.
Like, why? You don't need that much gauze.
Yeah.
And got, like, smashed
But I
up.
love, like, those are like the great moments of cinema though, where you're just like there and you're in it with them, where you're just like, oh my God, his hand's gonna blow. Oh my
Yes.
God. And you're like kind of on both sides, where you're just like, they have no idea and just aloof of what's on the other end. And then you're on like the amazing Yen. Thank you. I was like, fuck. I was like, I totally forgot. But his side of just like, he's kind of like
He
it's
just
gonna
accepts it at one
happen. Yeah.
point.
And you're just kind of like there. But I love how like directors and actors can make us feel like those ways. And I
Yeah.
think it's great.
I love his line too after, like, when they walk in
Oh.
and everything's blown to shit.
Mhm.
He just pops out from like behind some stuff.
Yeah. Isn't he
Like,
like,
where the
where
fuck
you
you
been? Yeah. Where you been?
I was-
Oh,
It's just like when they walk.
great movie.
Yeah, I like the way it's edited. Like that's the pacing works for me. Like
Yeah.
it just keeps jumping to certain points, but it all matters. And I think that's the grand scheme of it all. Is like all these things need to be pulled off perfectly, even when they're watching through the cameras. Bernie Mac's role, Yen's role, like even when George Clooney's character is not supposed to be a part of it anymore because of obviously Tessa's interaction with everything else, and he still shows up in the elevator scene. Like he
Oh,
always
yeah.
had like, a trick up his sleeve, and I enjoyed it because they're always like, "Oh, he's fucked." No, he's not. Like they kept pulling it off.
Yeah.
Even in the moments where you think like, "Oh shit!" Like that moment, like you were saying, when the tension grows. I love that in film. 'Cause
Oh,
you don't
so
know where it's
good.
gonna go. When they pull it off, you're like, "Ah, that's kind of cool." I like the way this movie is directed, produced, edited. Just it's a fun time. It's a really fun time.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the director for sure, Soderbergh. I've seen other works that he's done, and he's very.
You mean Magic Mike?
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Never saw that one, unfortunately.
Well, I know what we're doing tonight.
No, I've never seen it. I've just seen it live.
That was supposed to stay between us.
But like other, I had some issues sort of in the second one that we can get into with that, but I think this one, like exactly what you said, like
It's
everything
solid.
matters. Like as you're watching it, you think nothing's going on. You don't realize that like
It's a
they're
piece to
building the set, the bank vault while you're watching them talk about stuff, like slinging boxes through,
Mm-hmm.
and then they back out more, and it's zooming in from inside the van.
Oh, yeah,
that
and the
you
little
find out
tree,
later
the
is,
little
you know,
car
the
freshener
air
or whatever.
freshener.
Yeah, I was like there.
Him showing up, like how they pulled that off. It just works. It just works
Yeah.
in its own way. That it's so enjoyable, and yeah.
I also
Very
think
fucking
it's like the ultimate like kind of suave like cool guy movie. Like it's a very like not like aside from like the fact that they're robbing Vegas or hotel in Vegas, it's very much like about them as well, and not just the job and like just like their personalities. And that's why like I think the first half is set up so well, because you get a feel for like who these characters are, like what makes them tick, what they're a part of, like where they came from. And I think that it's really fun to see like how their personalities also fit into the overall plan and how they get to the goal at the end of the movie. So very well done. I think very well crafted. Yeah, like we said, very well written. I think character wise, like we said before, so much better than the first one. The first one, even their plan is kind of a little
It's a little wonky.
well, different times too. Like
Yeah.
they did it with like some spray paint.
That was high tech shit.
I was like,
oh, that's smart.
Next level Hollywood stuff right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, they turned the lights out, but you can see the footprints in the.
oh yeah, it's very.
Sure.
But I do like the yeah. No, move on.
I have one major problem with this movie,
Oh.
Which one?
and it is someone and an
Oh,
accent.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
We
we
forgot
have to talk
mention
about
that. We have to, because there's a whole story about that.
And tell us what that is,
It is.
please.
It's terrible.
If I butcher his last time, it's because I always do. It's Don
Don
Cheadle,
Cheadle.
right?
Cheadle.
Right, okay, Don Cheadle. Okay, cool. So he even comes out saying that like he didn't want to be credited in this movie. He said a lot of things happened behind the scenes that he felt disrespected from. He fired his agent after this film because she told him the accent's fine, do it. It's gonna be great for you. And he was just like, it was like one of the biggest mistakes I could have done.
It's when you start doing the Cockney rhyming shit
Yeah.
that if he just did the accent, it's like, all right, whatever, that's his thing.
No,
because
yeah.
when he's just talking normally and he's like blah blah blah, oh this happened, oh isn't it, whatever, like that's all fine. But it's when they're like, I don't even know if it's this movie, but he's like, the apples and pears, and he's like, they're like, what? It's like the stairs, and it's like, I don't even know how you got there, bro. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's rough.
I know it's a thing, but like, is it a thing?
And I don't know if they needed him to have one. He could just been like another guy. I don't.
Did his character originally have a British accent? I've never seen the 1960s version. I don't know if these are all.
No.
No, there's not even like really. The only thing
Well,
that
even,
really
like,
carries over
the
is Danny
Black
Ocean.
guy, if you want to say it in that role, like if you want to like point that out.
Sammy.
Well, like yeah, Sammy is the only one in the 1960s, but in this one, you technically have like Bernie Mac and Don Cheadle, which like obviously of the times, like you're more inclusive to
There's a lot more
everybody.
diversity in
Yeah,
this
it was
one
like
for
the
sure.
first one's
Yes.
like pretty much white guys and a black guy. Oh, and then a Russian. Sorry, I forgot there was
Yes.
a Russian. Is Saul,
Yeah.
I think, right? I think it's Saul. But I feel like this one is definitely more inclusive, especially like once you get like women involved. Like in the first one, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, his ex is kind of there and he's cheating on her, and that's kind of a weird like kind of
Yeah.
storyline. But I don't know. In this one, I don't know. Why did he go uncredited? So I mean, I know why.
The
I mean,
rumor
I know
was that
why.
he wanted to have top billing with
The rest of them,
Damon,
yeah.
and Pitt,
And they
they're
wouldn't
like,
give it
and
to
Julia
him.
Roberts, and they're like, no, like
I don't even know why Julia Roberts technically would get top billing,
yeah,
because
'cause she's not in it as.
she's
much.
not
She
a
has
huge
moments.
well, yeah, and she gets like less and less as
Yes.
I mean, well, no, I think she has a bigger role in the second
yeah,
one
she does.
than she
Yeah.
does in the first one. So
But
sorry,
she
my bad.
is part of the main plot.
She's part of the reason, yeah. So
why everything is happening. He's trying
yeah,
to get back.
but I feel like if it was not played by Julia Roberts and anybody else, do you think that they would get top billing?
she would still be the 11th. Is my argument.
Well, yeah, that's your argument. I don't think she's part. So mine is that Ocean's 11 are the 11 people that are enacting
I
this
didn't mean
plan.
to take us back there. I was just trying to.
No, I
do a
know.
little
We're
jab
I
in,
know.
Like,
Like going back and forth. No, I think it's the 11 people that help like complete the plan. Like they're getting the money and doing all that stuff, and it's who he ends up splitting the money with, including himself. Tess, who is Julia Roberts' character, does not get a piece of that money herself. She gets it by marriage to Danny or by being with Danny. So that's why I don't consider her. Plus, she doesn't do anything really to help them in the first one.
she does.
Not really.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I was like, I don't.
She,
She
helps
never-
him towards the
Like
end,
she's a
though.
vessel. She's kind of a vessel.
She's a vessel, but she's also the way that certain information is delivered to Andy Garcia's character, like when he slips her the phone. Sometimes there's people that are unwilling participants, and it happens in each and every movie.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying like she's not actively in it, so she does not get a cut.
Yes,
Kinda
but
thing.
but she does because she's with him. and
She's
it's
with
just
him,
a
yeah.
50-50
But she's
and-
not like a participating active player, and she knows she
And that
doesn't
was
know
my-
the plan
yeah.
of what's happening.
that happens
And the
in-
second one she does.
but it still happens in each movie because technically in the second one, Catherine Zeta-Jones is an unwilling participant, but she is by
Oh, yeah,
happenstance
no, but yeah,
because
by
of certain
happenstance.
things that she does. And
Yeah.
That transpired.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also, and we'll get into it too, I don't consider her part of the team.
And then also in the third one, there is someone who is also an unwilling or unknowing participant in it. It's the whole center of the movie.
Is it Topher Grace?
No. It's the well, we're not even on that movie. We're not
No.
even talking
Yeah,
about
I was
it.
like, we'll get there, but-
it's the guy who's the hotel person who's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
who takes notes on how the hotel's doing,
Mhm.
and they do split the money with him.
Yeah. But that's not till the 13th,
Exactly.
which we're not talking about.
I have
Anyway,
I have one fact that I looked into that I went down the deep rabbit hole and I looked into it a lot more than I probably should have, but I don't know if you guys know this, but the original scene where they blow up the hotel, you already know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
The Xander Hotel. So originally it was supposed to be New York in Vegas. However, because of
2001.
2000, because of the
Oh,
tragic
no!
events of 9/11,
Oh, no.
the producers and everything felt like it was too close,
in bad taste.
in bad taste. So they
Good
CGI'd
choice.
that scene and replaced it with the Xander Hotel. However, the original DVD that came out,
You can still see it.
you
like,
can
the way
still
it seems.
see it. They blew up New York. So I was like, that's wild.
I feel like they only keep New York around because of that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't like that hotel. But
I don't either.
as
I thought that they
personal
used actual footage of a hotel that was being demolished,
I
but I might be wrong.
read that they CGI'd it. I know they
They
used
could've,
actual
'cause
footage.
They did it like in
of-
Casino. They used actual footage
Yeah.
of
It might have been Casino.
no.
Yeah, maybe.
Fuck.
I thought no. For some reason, I think that
No, I
I
think
feel
they
like I
built-
thought that
yeah.
too. That they were demolishing an actual.
Maybe.
And then just by happenstance, we'll use that footage.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No.
Yeah. I know they used actual
makes sense. Practical.
footage of the video surveillance that they use in the movie of the Bellagio Hotel. It's actual video surveillance that the Bellagio Hotel
Yeah.
gave them permission.
No, yeah, they got to
film
film
the
it for
actual.
That's wild
Yeah.
that
So
they gave them
into,
permission
like,
for that.
Yeah. Well, they got a lot of business
Definitely
apparently
doesn't
from
look
the
like that
movie.
anymore.
Well, yeah, but I know, what was it? I think it is the Bellagio. They're like talking about, it's early on in the film where they're talking about like all the people who have tried and unsuccessfully robbed. And there's a guy in one scene where he got out of the hotel and he gets shot down. And they said, we're fine if you shoot this and you shoot him, but don't have our name printed anywhere because they don't want to have like death and crime and everything like place.
That was started because of
Dump
mob
them in the
ties.
Well,
desert.
yeah, they didn't want just like, oh, there's a guy getting shot in front of the Bellagio. Like
Nah,
they
you
didn't
go
want
down the
that.
road, bury them in the desert.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, kind
It
of.
was the
thing.
Flamingo, though, if I'm not mistaken. I think, wasn't it? Because he says each hotel.
Oh, he does.
I
Oh,
think
okay.
I thought he did, or it was like 1960 something, and like
Maybe it was the
like
Flamingo.
the 70s, and he gets hit by the front door.
Oh.
And he was
Yeah.
like, it was 80s, and it might have been Caesars. I don't remember. I thought he.
It's
said
one of
it
the
was.
hotels that whichever one he's like running. He's like
Yeah,
running out of the
running outside,
hotel.
Just
He
like,
gets
"Take my breath away."
oh yeah,
all the money.
Yeah, and all the money.
Love it.
And then it proceeded to have that song stuck in our head for a good minute.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much everything with the first one. I feel like we really need to dive into
Let's get
Straight
it.
to
the
Let's
main
rate it.
event.
Straight to
The
let's
main
rate it.
event.
and then dive
So.
into Ocean's 12. What do we think about Ocean's 11? Who wants to go first? You.
I'll take it.
I was gonna say, I was like, I'm most intrigued. I'm always intrigued by like Munira's just because she hasn't seen it, and I just want her thoughts.
So, my take on the first one is, as someone who's never seen the movie, and I know a lot of people love this movie and talk about it, and it's very well talked about in like pop culture, and like I know a lot of like my dad loves these movies and he always watches them, but I've never seen them. So in my head, my initial reaction to what I pictured Ocean's 11 to be, it's knowing that it's a heist movie. I pictured it to be an action flick, kind of like Mission Impossible-esque, only to be not necessarily disappointed that it wasn't like a huge action flick, but it was more like comedy, a little sprinkle here, a little bit of action. So I went into this thinking like it was just going to be like explosions right off the bat and everything. Disappointed. This preconceived notion in my head that when I was first watching it, I was like, it was okay in the beginning. Like I felt myself not really focusing while watching it. I think the directing
She did
was,
pick up her phone. Yeah.
I did. I think
whole
the
movie.
directing was excellent. I think the choices that they made in the cinematography was really good. One thing that I wrote is that I like how, for a movie being set in Vegas, a lot of like movies that are set in Vegas, there's a lot of like the glitz and the glam like in the background. This one was very not glitz and glammy of Vegas per se in that movie. Like the one scene that stuck with me is the scene of Julia Roberts walking through the casino at the very end, where it's kind of just like all yellow and dim in the back, so you can really focus on like her reaction and everything. I don't know why that scene stuck with me, but I really liked it. I thought the dialogue was really good, like the chemistry between the cast. I felt myself bored in the beginning, and then I slowly started getting more interested as the movie went on. 3.5 for me.
Yeah. Okay. Marissa, would you like to piggyback off of that?
I just have so many rebuttals to everything.
Go for
So
it.
many rebuttals. Just like the action part of the. I was like, there's so much action. That's all they're doing is constantly moving. They're constantly
I pictured it to
picking
be
up
more
people.
action, like I don't.
And when you literally I think you compared it to Mission Impossible. There's literally a scene where they're going down a shaft with wires. This is 100% Mission
lasers.
Impossible.
Laser beams.
Yeah,
So the
when they
lasers
break
in
the
the
little
The glow sticks.
glow sticks and they throw them down and they just
to
zzz.
get into the bank vault.
That's
room.
like nothing more short than like Mission Impossible.
I pictured more. I pictured more like
There's
explosions.
there's explosions. They blew
There's
up a hotel
one, two.
and they blew up a van.
Yeah. And a
I don't
police
remember
car.
all of them. I wanted more. I expected more action in my head.
Looks
when
like
I
someone was
watched it.
paying attention.
Probably not because I was bored in the first half.
Anyway, Marissa, what's your review
So
on this?
so sad. I'm actually shocked that she gave it a 3.5. I grew up with these films. I love these films. I think the dynamic between all the characters is great. I feel like we pretty much said everything reaction wise in the review, so I'm just gonna throw out my number. I think this is a 4.5 for me. Like it kept my interest the whole time. I think it's still fun to see just like little things and little pieces. Like I feel like there's also things like minor details in the background. It kind of makes you, it's one of the films where when we book a trip to Vegas, I always watch it before we go just to kind of get me in like that Vegas-y kind of mood. Yeah. So 4.5.
4.5. It's a 4.5. It's a respectable score. Both of you guys.
I love it. It's great editing, great producing, great music, great fun times, great cast. It just feels like a Hollywood movie to me. Just stacked cast of a lot of A-list celebrities and also people that are great in their own brand of like Bernie Mac comedy. I mean, it just fits all together. So I'm at a 4 out of 5.
Ooh, 4 out of 5. Like it. Yeah, Bernie Mac. That scene where he's just shaking hands with the car dealer.
The hand
I fucking love it. I always think about it. Now, mom, this says you use lotion, but that interferes with my social life.
Just
You know
the-
what I mean? And he gets tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring down to...
Oh, you do that?
Yeah, I love this movie a lot. I watch it a lot. I've seen it a lot.
A lot?
A lot. All the cast, A-list, blah, blah, blah. Everything was great. 4.5 is what I give it. One of those.
Bump.
With that being said, let's get into Ocean's 12. What's the budget on this one? How does it differ?
It went up to 110 million for the budget, and the box office was 362.75 million dollars in the box office, with a cinema score of a B minus. So grade below. Yeah,
And in true sequel fashion,
a lot of tropes from a lot of sequels.
we go to Europe.
Yep.
What did I write down? Oh, I wrote down the old "We're Going Abroad" sequel.
Yeah.
I like this film because I love the concept, and this is 100% why I even thought of doing a podcast sequel or a sequel podcast kind of thing. Is because my biggest intrigue is always just what happens after Happily Ever After. What happens when they finally catch the bad guy? What happens when they find true love? What what are those questions for okay, we've been trying to achieve this goal or do this thing, and now that we have it, what happens? I feel like it's just a great overarching question. So I think like this is a great like, okay, now they have the money, like are they still on the run? What are they buying with it? Like, you know, did something else happen? Are they in for another job? Like there's so many questions that I would want to see what happens next. So when a sequel like this comes out, I'm definitely like already in for like, yeah, I want to see it. Like as much as sequels like may or may not have good or bad taste in people's mouths, like this is one of those where I'm like, I'm absolutely going to see that in theaters or, you know, when it comes out on streaming, depending on how it's released. And yeah, I want more Andy Garcia as a bad guy.
Yeah, him tracking him down, I really liked it, especially the first act of the film and just him going one by one
To each,
to each one. So I dug that. They brought him back in that role.
Yeah.
Especially like they mentioned like 2 or 3 times like, well, you got the insurance money though. It's like it's not the point.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
the
I want
principle,
my money
it's
with
principle.
interest.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's
That's also what keeps him, I think, in the third one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is they're all gentlemen thieves and they all live by a certain kind of
code.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shook
I mean-
Sinatra's hand, like kind of thing.
Terry, the real star of this movie is Andy Garcia's fashion.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know. I don't know
Fucking
who's
first one
dressing
too,
him,
baby.
but
Him pulling up.
I was like, I don't know who's
With
dressing
the
him.
putter as the cane. Ooh.
Oh, he's doing it.
Yeah, that moment when he puts the cane to Joey Roberts' face, I guess that wasn't supposed to happen. Like
I know,
in
she was,
the
like,
script, she
fucking
kind of
mad
just
about
about
it.
because she's like the fuck, but like
It
I
is
like
weird,
that, man.
though.
Ad libs in this film, but it works. Like just
Oh,
let them
so
do their
good.
thing. Like there's things like little things like that I enjoy because you get a genuine, real reaction sometimes, and like Joey Roberts' reaction to that, I was like that. I like that. It sets him up to being like he's gonna hunt every single one of these motherfuckers down, and he's gonna get his money or try to get his money back, and just that interest on there.
Yeah.
And you have 2 fucking weeks. And like now we find out why there's 2 weeks going on, but like he could have just left it alone. Like obviously the insurance is gonna give you all the
Yeah.
cash back. But like we're saying code. It's like it's there. So
It's
I dug that. I love the intro and the setup into what we were going into.
Yeah,
Like,
once
like,
again, very good setup.
yes.
You're revisiting the characters
Where they're at,
that you know and love.
what
kind
they've
of
spent
thing.
their money on, like you're getting tracked to where they're at. And then just, you know, the same kind of stuff kind of plays out. Catherine Zeta-Jones being added to this.
That was my first comment that I wrote down. I just wrote Catherine Zeta-Jones.
What do you
I
think
didn't
about
write anything
that?
else. I just wrote that.
I really like her as an actress.
Zorro.
I loved her in Zorro, so I was like, did she do this one after Zorro, or Zorro came out
This
first?
was after, yeah. Zorro was the 9.
Yeah, this is 2004.
Yeah,
If I'm not
I
mistaken.
think.
I think so.
Yeah,
Like,
the
early
first
2000s.
Zorro. I think the first Zorro was 1998 or 1999,
Something like that.
or maybe it was 2000.
I thought it was 2000.
It's like very. It's either late 90s, early 2000s, but I want to say it's before this.
The Mask of Zorro came out
1998.
but then
Flip
the
the on.
1998, the first one. The sequel came out in 2001.
It was a tie, by the way. You both got it at the same time, so sorry.
I was trying to flip it off.
I know.
I told Ryan, I said, I don't know why I thought this in my brain for some reason, but I know like the whole reason you haven't seen these movies to begin with is because you really hate Brad Pitt.
I do.
And I said, this is like a great moment where like we're opening this film and I just hear Mooney's voice for some reason go, God, you know, I really hate Brad Pitt, but the only thing I hate more is Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's literally like in my head.
Double down
I know
on how
you've
much you
never
hate the
said
series.
that. You've never said that. But in my brain, I was just like, what a
Happy.
sequel comment to make.
That would have
I
been
love Catherine
funny.
Zeta-Jones.
I love Catherine Zeta. She's hot, man.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, she's so,
hot.
and she's like I was telling Ryan, I was like, she's like a classic
She's very,
beauty,
like, Hollywood
very like
timeless.
chic. Like it's just like, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen her and been like, ew. Like I think she's just very well put together.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my brain, she's like a princess, like very well mannered. Like
Yes.
for some reason,
Yes.
hooked Michael Douglas. Don't know how that happened, but good on them.
Oh, good for them, though. That's
Yeah,
fine.
and she's hot. She dips beneath lasers.
She does.
I feel like with this one, I was interested more in the beginning of the film, kind of like what you brought up, like Andy Garcia just like hunting them all down one by one. It piqued my interest in the start where the first one did not as much. I did want more Andy Garcia. I wanted more of him in the sequel to come back and like twist of events towards like the very end, just have him like I was waiting for him to show up again in the end, be like now that he has all his money or everything. But I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. It had a lot of like funny moments. Yeah, I did not, as much as I don't like Brad Pitt as an actor, I didn't really hate him in the Ocean movies. I thought he was good. I think like
It's
his
just enough pit.
It's just enough pit, and I think it's mainly because I like his I'm gonna butcher this word, camaraderie with George Clooney,
Right.
and everyone else. I think it helps take him down a notch for me because it's not just him that I'm focusing on. I was like,
Yeah, there's so many things,
other things,
players, everything's happening.
Well, then you get like another love story, and this time it's like the sidekick, the duo leader, or whatever and so you're not only getting scenes with like him and Clooney, you're getting scenes with him and Catherine Zeta-Jones, and
There's a lot
you know.
going on, but I enjoyed it.
yeah,
Yeah, like one of my favorite
Nice.
scenes in this movie is when he's in a robe and Clooney's next to him and they're drinking wine.
It's one of my
Oh.
And
favorites too.
he's like, I think she's just confused. I think I did it messed up, and like he pours him wine,
like-
but it's like the most like worst way. He's not even looking at the cup. He's just like,
You hear
it
it
just
just
picks the it just drips
splattering
down
on the
Yeah.
floor.
He's just
Watching Happy Days.
And
in
Clooney's just watching,
Italian.
like, yeah, he's just looking at the movie or whatever they were watching, and just Brad just talking about the girl being like, I think she's just confused, or I think she hates me. I don't know, man. He just goes like that. Just
I also like in that scene that they're having two different conversations, but they're simultaneously going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because he, like, immediately after, he's like, talk to that doctor about getting that tattoo removed.
yeah,
But he said because of
placement.
the placement of it, and maybe I shouldn't.
So speaking of that scene, I know I brought it up in when we talked about Ocean's 11 about the prank that they pulled on Julia Roberts. So the prank that they brought into this one is originally for the first one, they would tell Julia Roberts that the call time is at 5:30 a.m. So she would show up on set at 5:30 a.m., but it was actually at 11:30. So that's where they brought it in, where he was like, it's 5:30 a.m. Like, let's go. And he's like, I thought it was a cool little notch into like their actual like camaraderie.
so
like
terrible.
what?
6 hours before, not
yeah,
even that,
yeah,
like
yeah.
5:30 in the morning. Oh, just no.
Yeah, but I
I'd be
like how they
pissed.
brought it into the films to show just how much like they've
Especially
all like
Brad.
bonded together.
That's just mean.
Yeah.
Told her, I was like, oh, he's so mean.
Oh,
Because he's like, how many espressos have you had? He's like, 5 or whatever. He's like, oh, come on. You're not going back to bed, bro.
It's a day up. It's 11 a.m.
It's before.
Just the reading. When they realize it's just great.
Joseph briefly touched on this when we were talking about the first one, but you mentioned the music. And I think like the music in this one like really just hooks me for some reason. Like, I mean, the music in the first one is great, but in this one, it's the same guy who does all three of them. It's David Holmes, and he is like a frequent collaborator with David Soderbergh. But I don't know. There's just something about like the music in this and I feel like we don't give enough credit. We always talk about like the directors, the actors and everything like that, but I feel like there should be something, given more to like the people who set up and do like the behind the scenes that we don't see on camera, or even, that are in charge of the camera. So I think it's just
Song always gets stuck in my head where they're hoisting the house up.
oh yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of like just fun music and just good.
I agree. My opinion, it's the music's better in the second one than the first.
Yeah,
I think
it's just fun.
It gets better.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's fun. It like kind of goes with it. You kind of get like this twang still, where you get that like Ocean's 11 theme in there, which is, in my opinion, very like Vegas, like old Vegas kind of music style. So it's still, you're kind of always going back to the original, and kind of always know when they're kind of up to no good.
So the scene where like there's a guy just running down a hallway and it's just silent, and I like that. It had like a level.
Oh, yeah,
where
where
you
you
just
see
yeah.
her and it's just
Yeah.
quiet.
When he goes into where
Yeah,
she's
so I
talking
like
about
that.
the
Like stuff like
box
little
or
things
whatever.
like that. Like it adds to the film. But yeah, there's like a lot of whimsical music too when they're doing the high stuff or they're I
the
love
Spanish
that, dude.
guitar. I have
Yes.
that song.
Oh.
There's a
Do
couple
you
songs.
do you
There's
really?
a couple songs from this like
Like, soundtrack
soundtrack.
that you have?
I just have on my phone.
Dude,
I'm
it-
like, dude,
it's some
where-
bangers.
Like when he first ends up and it's that lady. I can't really do it justice, but she's like speaking in when he's tailing
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that song I have, and then there's like a lady singer.
I like the one too when Julia Roberts and Matt Damon, all of them get arrested too,
Mhm.
and they all get set down. The little music's playing in the background. It adds to like it's a serious situation, but like at the end of the day, you're like, how are they gonna get out of this one?
Yeah, they're all
Like
in
I
jail now.
always love when they do get stopped because you're like, okay, what's the next thing that leads to them
Yeah.
somehow figuring this out? And I loved it too, the Matt Damon mom thing.
So I
fucking
was going to
great,
bring that
man.
up because I like this because it really builds upon the world that they live in, and it's a larger network of gentlemen and lady thieves that all work together. And
Their dialogue, did you told dad?
yeah, and I always look at it because I think it's funny because it's like their son is going into the family business, and I think that that's funny.
So I thought about that with the question you brought up. Who is part of like Ocean's 12?
who's the 12?
It's like people who help. So it might, with that logic, would the mom technically be a part of it because she technically saved them from jail? Question.
I think it could be because I think once again, I don't think that there is a wrong or right answer
Yeah.
to
I think
this.
it's the way you see
I
it.
think it's subjective. Yeah. And I don't know Steven Soderbergh for like anything, but like I would assume that he would say the same.
Yeah, he'd be
I
like,
would
it's
assume
whatever
he would
you
be
want.
like,
I
it's
don't
whatever
care.
you want. Like, I mean, obviously, like there's certain people who you know are a part of it for sure. Like, obviously, Rusty is one of the 11.
Yeah.
But like, I think that the 12th or the 11th or the 13th, I think could be subjective based on how you view who is helping. Because technically, like you said, like there's people that are helping that don't even know that they're helping. But to me, like I always considered the 12th man in this one to be Vincent. I think it's Vincent Cassel.
The French dude who's
The
working.
the Night Fox. Yeah, the Night
Night
Fox.
Who's working against
I always
them.
considered, he's working. Initially he is working with them, correct? Like he is kind of like helping them out in a way. I don't know. I don't know.
He
I
tries
always
to
He's
thought that-
sabotage
he's
them
the
from
one
the
who
get-go.
wakes him up early in the
Yeah.
morning. He's
Yeah.
the one who
That steals the artifact from the beginning.
in the
When
very
first
beginning,
when they
and he says,
leveled
"I'm going
the-
to keep doing this."
He's the
until
one
you
that calls Andy
agree to my
Garcia.
challenge.
Even then, when he
I
calls
don't know why.
Andy,
I don't know. Maybe I always thought it was him, but
I always laughed when he calls Andy and he's like, "But you got the insurance money?" He's like, "Well, I need 2 weeks. Damn." Like he's so like, I don't know. I was asking for all that. He's like, but he just wants to be called. He wants to be the best. That's all he
Yeah.
wanted. He wanted them to.
for some reason it
acknowledge
was
him.
always in my brain. But now that I like kind of like look back again on it, I'm like, no, it's not. It's Julia Roberts. Now
So-
I feel like
I mean,
it's Julia
I feel like you
Roberts.
could argue both ways.
And I can also argue that it's Lamarck.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Oh,
I was like,
Lamar.
wouldn't it then be Lamar? Because
Yeah.
he technically went behind.
He's the one who.
He's the one
did-
that's- yeah.
It's all him. Like
Yeah.
I did everything
He
to
was
help
like
you.
the-
My bad.
Yeah. So once again, subjective.
Yes,
Of course.
But
which makes for great discussion. That's
You
why I
don't
like
know
these
what's in
movies.
the-
You don't like the players could just vary in so many different ways.
Yeah, it's like what's in the briefcase in
Mhm.
Pulp Fiction. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want it to be.
it's another Royale with cheese
Yes.
or a head.
I like a certain scene where I want to say it's when Brad Pitt breaks into Catherine Zeta-Jones's house, and she goes, "Yeah, you've been following me for a while," and she has a picture, and it's thief a la mode, because we were talking about this, and you're like, "Yeah, he's just always eating, and he's always eating." And one of the factoids for this movie is that I told her because she didn't know that there's two reasons why he eats so much, and one is because it just shows that they're never stopping, they're always working, and you just have to find time to have your meals while you're working. So he's eating the shrimp in the lobby, he's eating the chips while he's on the phone with them. The other reasoning, and the actual reason, is because Brad Pitt got hungry. And you're just on the set working all day, and you're just like, I just want a reason to eat.
So it's my thing.
So he just that's why he's just eating.
I think it added to the character.
And
too.
I like
Yeah.
that they brought it back.
Oh, it's funny.
There's a
Yeah.
picture of him with a fucking ice cream cone.
Because he's always
He's always
He's always
hungry.
eating.
Oh, he's fucking hungry.
Waiting
So is
outside the
Jensen.
prison. Just
Oh, just always munchies. Oh yeah, what is it?
oh Brad Pitt.
I know for this one, so Matt Damon just finished doing Jason Bourne.
Born supremacy.
Yeah. And he asked for his role to be
Jason Bourne.
reduced in this one because he was like, I'm
He
tired.
was tired as fuck.
He was
was
tired.
like-
He's like, I don't want to be on set anymore. He's like, I need a break. And
Even though his character asked for more of a break.
yeah.
and
Probably part of the joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
So that was part of the joke. Was the director was just like, no, we're gonna give
So
you
sorry.
a bigger part now.
Yee.
Check this shit out.
Yeah, which I thought it was great seeing like how his role expanded in this one, and then getting the whole mom dynamic.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that scene. So thanks for stealing
Oh,
the
the-
part of my joke.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And then Bruce Willis, who was supposed to be casted in this film, ends up showing up in the second one as
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
Willis with Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
I know you kept mentioning she's gonna be Julia Roberts. Is it Julia Roberts? I'm like, just wait. Is it Julia Roberts? She's gonna be Julia Roberts, isn't she? And I'm like, just let
It
it
was
happen.
great.
Like,
I
which they
loved
had to
it.
change because she was pregnant.
Yes,
And they had to
rewrite
change
her
the
script a little bit.
her role in the film.
That is funny. I also like when they fit, like, you know, when they're at the end and they're sitting at the French. I forget his name.
Vincent Cassel?
Yeah, but his
Or Cassell?
character. I just keep calling him the Night Fox, but
Yeah, you call him.
when
And
they're
that's
in his
character.
like, villa
yeah,
or
that's
whatever,
character.
and he's like, you know, and you did this and whatever, and he's like, and you don't even look like her. It just makes me laugh.
He's like, yeah, you,
Like, oh, come on.
so funny.
Things that I don't like. There's one scene where they're leaving the prison,
Okay.
and it just keeps zooming in on everyone.
Yeah, I hated that.
I was like,
I really hated
all
that,
right,
yeah.
I get it.
I think like on like fourth one, you're just like, oh, come on.
I was like, okay.
Like if
Even
it
though
was
I
like
seen
the
it, that's-
trailer and they're like giving you like the actor's name and it's like Ocean's 12, I'm like cool, but for the movie I'm like really, man. And then the other thing I hated too, when they were in Amsterdam they spell it out. I know they've done that multiple times, but like
I get
the
it.
hotel they go to says Amsterdam.
Yeah,
like I get
the
it,
establishing
guys.
shots and
Yeah.
everything. Some things are a little redundant.
Yes.
and I feel like I don't know if it was a different cinematographer or if he was trying to go for like a French kind of exploitation-y kind of filmmaking for like that era. Who knows? Who's to say?
I
But
feel like it just might have been that, like, it might have been just
a
direction.
choice, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Soderbergh's stuff is at times very like avant-garde kind of
Sometimes.
deal. So I mean,
feel
it
like
might
he
have just
kinda
been.
like, I'm off
He was
the
like,
board.
"Oh,
I'm gonna do
well,
whatever I
we're in
want."
Europe. I'm gonna shoot like Europe."
Yeah, but some of the
Ugh.
things are really great. Some of them are like weird, like how it like the panning zoom in on it is weird. One thing I absolutely love though is when he breaks into Catherine Zeta-Jones's house and she's getting her purse and she whips around and only the gun is in focus. I think that shot is top tier.
Yeah.
A great shot.
Well, because the whole time you're basically like viewing from Brad Pitt's angle.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, oh. It's kind of shocking
It's
in a
just
way.
like, hey.
I always remember like it's one specific scene, and I believe they showed it in the original trailer for when the movie was being released. And it's the scene where like Benedict's checking up on everybody, and he calls Brad Pitt's character, and Brad's like, fuck. And he like, starts running down the stairs, and he's starting to go for his car, and then he blows up the car.
Yeah.
It's just such like a like jolting, like even the camera like kind of goes out of focus a little bit for a minute and kind of like moves around because you're in the same hustle as Brad Pitt. And I always remember distinctively like that scene with the car.
Yeah. Yeah, like you one day you go down to one of your favorite car, the one of the 17 you own, and one day and it just
It's a-
explodes.
It was such
Yeah.
like
You have 2 weeks.
to me, it was like that's such a Scorsese shot. Where
Uh-huh.
I'm like, that's Casino. I'm like, that's what I loved about it. I'm like, there's little tropes like that where I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
But I feel like it also
a
shows
good
that
time.
sinister side of
Of
Andy
Andy Garcia.
Garcia.
That's what put him like here for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's not fucking
like,
all.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
all the things
Yeah.
that he keeps saying, like they're always like empty threats, and
Yeah.
then the one
Yeah.
time he's like, I fucking mean business.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I wanted more from him. After that
Yeah.
one specific thing, I was like, is he gonna come back? And just like, just keep watching. I was like, no, is he gonna come back? Like, I need more of him. Like, we're almost at the end of this movie. Where is he?
More Andy.
I did.
Andy Garcia.
I always want more Andy Garcia.
Don't worry,
He's a decent looking dude.
You're gonna get more of them.
Yeah, he's a decent looking dude.
He's a decent, good-looking.
It'll probably beep too.
Yeah.
I know, Ryan, you mentioned that you have problems with film. And as much as I also have this same problem, I'm going to pass this one on to Mooney because I heard that it was the reason that you fell out of liking this film so much. And that is the scene
The
where...
dancing.
Yeah.
Oh, the dancing scene.
Or should we say the laser scene?
The laser dance.
Yeah, not the dancing, the
laser
laser.
It's
dance.
silly, but go ahead, Mooney. Go ahead.
I think I originally my interest was with the entire movie, and then slowly but surely, what's his name?
The Night Fox.
The Night Fox.
We'll just call him the Night
The
Fox.
Night Fox. I don't know why, but I just really. Are you okay?
I'm fine. Oh, we're
He's
good.
choked. He's choked up because he loves the character so much.
Joseph, save him.
Are you okay?
Almost does not
Do you need a
on
cough
camera right
drop?
Did you choke on beer?
No, I just went down the wrong pipe, and I was like, gotta be quiet. Let me talking.
Holding it at the same time, just getting
Just
red.
the whole
just
time
like,
it's just Mooney talking. You're
So I was like, and I just looked at her
You're
like,
fine.
I'm gonna die.
You're fine.
It's my time.
and I'm just like, yeah, Mooney, go on.
And what's the problem with the
Yeah,
film?
go on.
And then there was
Like,
Joseph
oh
to
my
save
God.
Ryan.
I'm trying to Google something.
Shut up, Brian.
I'm like, oh, shit.
Shut up, Brian. Mooney's talking.
But you tried to save him. That's all that
I'm
matters.
like, let me Google one thing. And I'm like,
Oh, Google CPR.
Joseph's Googling like how to CPR.
I don't know why, but I really did not like his character. I thought he was just an arrogant, smug asshole
He's
Agreed.
French.
Very much. Yes,
I mean,
he
he's
is,
French.
and he is French. I
No offense to French people.
I'm slicked into my camera, but
I don't know. I just didn't care for him at all. Like in this movie, I would have preferred if instead of him, I got more Andy Garcia.
That's fair.
So specifically with his laser dance bypass, whatever the lasers, I looked at Joseph and I was like, I need a little break from this movie because I was just like, I understand like it played a lot with like sequel tropes and it was funnier than the first one and they wanted more comedy, which I enjoyed at certain times, and I was like, they just lost me completely with this scene where I was just like, I'm good. This is what I would expect from like Spy Kids, not from Ocean's 12.
so can I hit you with something?
Yes.
So I feel, and this is my opinion, that there are two things happening there.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is that who's the best? What's happening here?
Yes.
And he does his whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And he dances past all the lasers and he gets through and he's like, I did it. I'm the best.
Oh,
And then you
click
have
the heel.
the little click of the heels.
I
at
love
the end.
that. Yeah.
And then there's like the ocean aspect where you just steal it before it even gets there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like both are good for their own reason. Either work smarter, not harder, or you have a love for the craft and I'm just going to do it like this because that's the way you do it. And I think that kind of works both ways. Who's the best, who's not, that's for debate. But work smarter, not harder is a great way to go about life.
Yeah.
You know? That was my thing. That's it. Sorry. Just to shine a little, like, maybe that you didn't, I don't know.
I mean, I didn't think of it that way. I just thought it was.
No, we just thought it was cheesy.
Ridiculous.
It
Yeah,
is
it's
cheesy, but
Very
then it's like,
cheesy.
but there's a love to, like, he scaled the building, he
Yeah.
climbed down. Oh, you
Definitely
don't know how
love
to
for the
do
craft.
that? Like,
Yeah.
all right, you piece
Well,
of
that
shit.
in like in the scene too, where you're setting up, you see like flashes of him doing the like practicing the dance, if you will, like at his house
Yeah.
of just like, so he's prepping. I thought he was just stretching to like scale and like do all that stuff.
Who
And
stretches
then I was
like
like,
that?
oh no, he's doing like
I do.
a performance right now so that he knows how to move and where to go. And,
Well, you guys know, every time I wake up early in the morning, like, I stand on my balcony and I have my coffee. And
and he
then
does his judo.
I put on my white flowy fucking pajama pants and I just by the pool and I just do my stretches. My Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Just do it fucking-
That's how I do it. Is there anything else we want to add to it?
The only thing I have left is Ricky Gervais was supposed to be in the movie and he passed on it. That's all I had.
Was he supposed to be Eddie
Yeah.
Izzard's character? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I like Eddie's.
Which you
better.
could also
Yes.
argue, is he
he?
is he
Yeah.
the 12th?
You did bring that up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. He just made the one thing. That was it.
Yeah.
And then he wanted payment.
Arguable. Yeah, I was like,
Instead of
which I
splitting the
mean,
money or whatever with him.
yeah, arguable.
Even though it was a pro bono job, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the point. One thing I will add, I loved that when they're asking, like, okay, it's this much, so it's whatever we spent plus interest.
Plus interest, yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like they go through, like, who has what, and, like, Brad Pitt's like, I spent most of it. Hotels, man.
Hotels.
But one of my favorite ones is when they get to Livingston Dell.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, how much is the interest? And they're like, whatever it is, 7. He goes, oh, I just owe 7. And they go, you haven't spent any of it? And
He's like,
I've been
oh.
living with my
With his
parents.
parents.
Shit cracks me up every time.
I love his little like whatever stand-up bit that he's doing.
And I said,
Oh,
I'm
with
just like,
the
what is
mom?
happening here? Like, I want to
He's
know.
trying. He's doing his thing.
I know, but
I
it's just
commend
like
him.
Even
it's
after
so
that, when he, goes up
silly.
to, when he's with Andy, he's like, "Thank you for letting me finish."
He's like, what can I say? You're a funny guy. I was going to let you just die up there alone.
Just let him sweat it out, bro.
Oh, God.
Okay, now where's my fucking
Where's my money?
I feel like he's the nicest to him out of everybody.
Yeah, it's because he's like, you did enough to yourself, bro.
Casey
Yeah.
Affleck gets the worst. I felt like when he tries to stand him up, he's like, "Now we're going to go to the Epcot Center on your honeymoon." And I was
Oh.
like, "Damn,
You're
bro."
a honeymoon to Epcot Center. Cheap piece of shit.
Yeah, but those gloves that he's wearing though,
Andy Garcia fashion, top notch.
just high fashion,
High
Best in
fashion.
the highest of fashions.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm slightly surprised that Mooney doesn't like the Night Fox more because he is a very important piece in one of your favorite movies.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean,
I'm really bad with names in people and
You
everything.
do know who it is. I
Shrek
think
is
you
life.
brought it
Shrek is
up.
love.
Yeah. He's in Shrek.
What does he play in Shrek?
He's
Play Shrek.
he's Robin Hood. He's Robin Hood.
I was about to be like, no,
He's
like
Miss
mine.
Miss
Bad.
Miss
He's
Yo
very, very
Hood.
bad. It's that guy.
Miss Yo Hood.
So now you can put a face to the
Yeah.
animated character.
That's bad.
It's
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
What is it? His
didn't even know
actual
this.
character's name
No.
is they pronounce it like twice. Is Francois
Isn't
Tu-
it French
Toubleur?
Troubadour? No, that's
Toulour.
Toulour? Toulour. You're right. Yeah.
But they say it with an American accent, so I mean, yeah, Toulour, but
Yeah.
Francois Toulour, but it would be like Francois Toulouse,
yeah.
because you just
Toulouse. Yeah.
named that. You want to put a rating on this bad boy?
Go for it. Or do you want to go last?
I
'Cause
can.
you're-
No, whatever. I
Oh,
can start
okay.
it. For me, I mean, it's a sequel. You go to Paris. Or, I'm sorry, you go to Europe.
Just specifically
We were talking
Paris.
so much French, French dudes. But yes, going to Europe, it has everything. There's certain shots. There's a little thing that I don't like with the little zoom in. But also, I do like the Thief Follow mode. Catherine Zeta-Jones in it, so it gets bonus points for that. Because you were talking and you're like, yeah, I know her from, what was it, Entrapment was the first thing? Not the first thing, but you brought that up.
Oh yeah.
And I said, no, it's from a little movie called The Phantom.
Ryan
Another
loves
Billy
The
Zane-
Phantom.
Another Billy Zane classic, by the way.
Shout out to Uncle Billy.
I give it a 4.5.
Ooh. Nice. All right.
There's things that you would think that it's whatever, but no, I think that it's a very strong movie in its own right, and that's why I give it a 4.5.
Yeah. Like this one. I always remember really liking this one. And I like for the longest time I was like, yeah, I like this one more than the original, but I can't not love the original. Like I feel like once this is, one of those, but I feel like in this sequel, like it comes with like it's coming for the first one for sure. Like it definitely is not like a subpar sequel. I think that they really like continued on with the story. You still get the characters, you still get kind of like that back and forth kind of deal. I think I'm gonna go with you and stick with the same. I think I'm gonna go 4.5. I was thinking 4 because like it's like not. I just can't stay away from like the first one, but like it's a solid good time, and I like the Night Fox.
Yeah, I kept thinking like in the future because I know what's coming in the third one, so I was like, oh wait,
The third one, yeah,
wait.
we have things to say
I'm
about
gonna
the third
shock
one,
everybody
but
when we eventually get to that. So
yeah, for sure.
I enjoyed this movie. I don't know if I enjoyed it more than the first one because there's certain things that I just didn't.
All right.
I feel like it definitely like this movie definitely played with like a lot of the tropes that happen with like sequels, but I feel like it worked for this movie. I think it was. I don't want to say it was silly, but like there were certain things that like they made me laugh. There were the silly moments. When I was watching it, I told Joseph that the way that the movies have nothing in common, but like I compared it very loosely. That I was like, it kind of reminds me of like a 22 Jump Street, where the first one was executed well, and then the second one was just do the same thing but make it sillier. Have like more cast and everything. I love the scene of Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts meeting Bruce Willis. I think what I really liked about this one more than the other one is that instead of showing you how they did the heist, they're going to tell you how they did the heist. I thought it was fun, clever, and similar but different than the first one. I'm going to stick with a 3.5 for this one. It's the same rating as the first one. Joseph?
Yeah, I don't like this one as much as the first one. The directing and some shots and some... I think that Night Fox sucked. So I'm at a 3.5.
I'm so alone.
His character sucks.
so
Yeah,
alone.
so-
his acting ability is good. His character, I just fucking hate
Yeah.
it. He's such
He
a
always
little
plays.
spoiled bitch boy,
I think it's
yes.
because I think he just always plays like bad. Like from I've seen, he's always playing like bad characters, and I just feel like I don't know. There's something where I love when a character does so well in like a certain role that you're just like, man, we freaking hate this guy, and like because even like Black Swan is another role that he's in where he's kind of not a horrible person, but like he's not great. Like he's not a great human being, and he's just kind of like like kind of slimy, weaselly, like foxy,
Yeah, I thought the laser thing, dancing thing was dumb too. I thought there was a lot of stupider things in this film that I just didn't personally like. So since I gave the first one a 4, and I like this one a little bit less, I'm at a 3.5.
Solid.
Respectable. Still a respectable score though.
Yeah, I feel like you didn't really like this one that much. I feel like the three of us kind of more.
Yeah,
talked
I'm
more
indifferent
about
about it.
this
Just things in it where like,
You don't like Catherine Zeta-Jones?
no, she's great.
The
There's
more
just, there's just things in this film where I'm like, I know they're trying to do more. It's obviously a sequel. There's a lot of tropes in it from sequels I just don't really care for.
Yeah.
And like there's some shots like we've talked about that I just took me out sometimes during the film and just rubbed me the wrong way. And
Yeah.
I do love the first one. That's why I'm like, I'm comfortable with that being 4. I don't hate this one. I just like it less. So it's 3.5 for me.
upon watching it the first time, I felt similar because I thought the Julia Roberts thing took me out. I was like, that's dumb as shit. For
I
like
thought it
Bruce
was
Willis.
I thought it
Julia,
was
yeah.
dumb,
I
but
thought it
when
was
they
dumb.
brought
I
in
thought it
Bruce Willis, I thought that was kind of cheeky.
Yeah, the more times I've watched it, its scores, everything changes through time. and
Fluctuates,
everything. And for me, the more that I've seen all of them now, I have certain. And then as soon as the 8th one came out, I'm like, oh, okay, now certain scores need to shift.
Oh,
and
I have thoughts on
And
that
then
one
right
too.
now,
as well.
like I could probably talk myself into giving the first one a 4.5. Like now that we've done this and now kind of just revisiting things. I
Yeah.
could yes, yeah, and like
because there's certain things that like we'll get into it when we get
Mhm.
into it, and I'll explain why my score will be in the future a certain score. But
Oh, for the 13th?
yeah. But we'll get there when we get there.
I haven't even seen the 8 one.
no, I haven't seen Days one
You're
either.
I haven't
missing
even
out
seen
on
13
much,
or
in my
8.
opinion.
Yeah.
They made choices in that I was like,
I just didn't think it was personally necessary, but
no.
whatever.
But we don't want to be adult virgins, so
The feminists are taking over.
exactly. Well, that being said, if you like what we do here, please like and subscribe. Comment
Please.
down below. Let us know what you think. Oh,
Oh,
shit.
God.
What I forgot what the question was that I was going to say now. I thought I had a bright idea, but it was going to be like, tell us what you think about something. But
About
Give us your review for Ocean's 11 and 12.
let us know what you think. Let us know how you think we're doing. Tell us how good or terrible you think we're doing.
Man, we
Just say
suck.
something, man. Just comment.
we suck.
Be active. Do something. Either way, doesn't harm us. Like, yeah, anything is good.
No.
With that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, the podcast, a show so sublime. Marissa, Mooney, Joseph, and Ryan signing off with glee. Join us next episode for more sequel revelry.